Praise 106.1. Just so you know, this show is pre-recorded, so you will not have an opportunity to call in live, not for a few weeks because I'm getting some work done. So, but I did want to come to you this week. We took off for Labor Day weekend, and I have some important things I want to talk to you about. I don't usually talk about politics. It is not my custom. I talk about insurance, and I talk about insurance that is important to you as a consumer and you as individuals who need to be protected and kept safe for the things that can happen to you. But today, I want to talk about exactly what is going on in our country. There's a document that was created at the very beginning of this experiment that we call America. Some of the language in this document says that each person in this country has an inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that to secure these rights, we create governments of men from among ourselves, and that these men are given consent to do their things that they need to do by the government. We, the people, are giving them consent, so they have to have our permission to do the things that they are doing. But whenever a form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such a form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence dictates that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. That means just don't get up and say, "Oh, we protest for just no whim." Okay? And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind is more likely to suffer while evils are unsufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations and pursuing invariably the same objective is by design to reduce and under absolute despotism. What is despotism? It is a ruler who believes he has absolute authority and power, and what you need and what you are concerned with means nothing to what he wants. That under absolute despotism, it is not only our right, but it is our duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for our future security. It is not only our right, it is our duty to stand up and speak, to be heard, to vote. That is how we give the government our consent to act in the manner in which he acts. Now, why would I use the term despotism? On April the 13th, 2020, our illustrious president stood in a COVID hearing and said, when someone is president of the United States, their authority is total. And the governors know that. When someone is president of the United States, their authority is total.
President of the United States, the authority is total. And that's the way it's got to be.
Your authority is total.
It's total. It's total. And the
is
governors
total.
know that.
So if a
The governors know that. Now you have a couple of bands of excuse me. You have a couple.
Could you rescind that order?
You have a couple of bands of Democrat governors, but they will agree to it. They will agree to it. But the authority of the President of the United States having to do with the subject we're talking about is total.
You said when someone is President of the United States, their authority is total. That is not true. Who
Okay,
told
you know
that?
what we're going to do? We're going to write up papers on this. It's not going to be necessary because the governors need us one way or the other, because ultimately it comes with the federal government. That being said, we're getting along very well with the governors, and I feel very certain that there won't be a problem. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Has any governor agreed that you have the authority to decide when their state
I haven't
opens
asked
back up?
anybody because
But
I
no one
don't.
has
You know why?
agreed.
Because I,
This president has a long line of offenses. Before he was even elected, he tried to start a birther movement, lying and knowingly lying that Obama was not a resident of the United States, was not born in the United States. Number two, since the very beginning, it has been not only his goal, but his sheer ambition to prove that he was a better president than that black boy from the Midwest. Okay, he has started since 2015 trying to reverse
With the
Obama.
Republican House and Senate, we will also immediately repeal the Obama-Clinton defense sequester and rebuild our badly depleted military. With the Republican House and Senate, we will immediately repeal and replace the disaster known as Obamacare. It's a disaster. Even Bill Clinton admitted that Obamacare is the craziest place in the world. A Republican House and Senate can swiftly enact the other items in my contract immediately, including massive tax reduction, and she's going to raise your taxes big league, by the way, big league. Everyone knows it. Just read what she has to say. And tax simplification for the middle class.
He keeps saying that he is going to be able to replace it. He keeps saying that he is going to be able to make sure that pre-existing conditions are covered, and he even issued an executive order stating so. But why would you need to create an executive order for something that already is in existence? We're not saying it's perfect, but the one thing it did is it guaranteed health insurance for everyone who applied. Yes, it penalized you for not applying, and that's because the more people, this is insurance, they put their money in the pot, the cheaper the cost is. The more people who participate in the pool, the cheaper the cost is. This is why they want everyone to participate. It is going, if everyone does their part, it will make health insurance inexpensive for all. It's the same way auto insurance works. It's the same way homeowners insurance works. It's a pool of people coming together, just like the government. It is citizens coming together to decide that this is the direction we want our government to go in. All in this together. It's always been that way. In February 2016, Trump tweeted, "By any means necessary, we will repeal Obamacare." Why? Literally because Obama created it. It was his ambitious goal to make sure that you did not have people who suffered because they didn't have medical insurance. This is what he said he was going to do. He was going to get rid of the need for it by enforcing immigration laws. Based on an article on webarchive.org, okay? His whole immigration plan was first of all designed to appeal to his base and to remove those people who in his mind thought mostly needed Medicare or Medicaid or state-supported medical insurance. This is his goal, and it's on his website. He would also reduce the number of he reduced the number of individuals, children, that need Medicare and assistant insurance programs. He would also retire mental health programs that would take the strain off of the insurance system. One of the biggest issues we have in this country is, even with the rest of black men, is that most of them, a lot of them, have mental health issues. The issues with the homeless. We don't need to reduce our retire programs. We need to expand it. That's going to create jobs. It's also going to remove as much poverty as we can from our internal structure, our economic structure. We need to expand the mental health system so that people who are living on the street homeless with mental issues can have some place to go. So that adults with mental issues whose families cannot care for them will have some place to go. And you don't have to be rich in order to pay for them to stay there. This needs to be expanded, not retired or limited. In 2017, Trump told the Washington Post in an interview that he was going to provide insurance for everybody. But at the same time, this particular year, he went to the Supreme Court in a lawsuit trying to remove Obamacare in the midst of the pandemic, where we have lost over 190,000 Americans to the COVID virus. He is trying to get rid of the medical insurance that is helping to save their lives. I'm not exactly sure how much more needs to be said. This wall that he claims he built, which is really not there. Okay, he really just expanded some areas of the wall that were already there, repaired and replaced. The wall didn't get built. His response to the racial discord that is happening across this country, it is because he is a racist. I listened to C4 on 10 WBAL radio talk about how he's not racist, he's an opportunist. No. If you can't tell at this point that he has no regard for minorities, of people of color in any form or fashion, I don't know what else you need. Okay, he's not just playing to his base. He truly believes this. His niece said so. His sister said so. And Mr. Cohen, who used to be his attorney, has just published it in a brand new book. How he hated when Obama got elected. How he was disgusted. How could this black man become president? It is almost, I honestly believe it is the very thing that provoked him to try to run, because no black man could obviously outdo him, because he is the smartest man in the room. Yet, as we watching the news on this past Wednesday, he sat with 18 different interview recordings for this journalist that is writing a book and divulge every secret in his presidency. But this is the smartest man in the room. He is also talking about secret military advancements that this country is making, when that's a violation. That's treason. It just is. He held a political rally on the lawn of the White House, where these are government facilities that are supposed to be separated from any type of political activity. And the thing is that Mitch McConnell, who is the minority chair in the Senate, I believe that's correct, he's the one that presented the Hatch Act several years ago, which says you cannot use governmental locations and facilities for political activities. But what's our alternative? We've got Joe Biden, who is running for president. He probably should have ran the last time. But his plan is not to get rid of Obamacare. His plan is to expand on it. We all knew that it was an experiment, just like the American experiment. And in the very beginning of us trying to establish something new, there's always going to be bumps in the road. There's always going to be things that we have to adjust as we go along. Why? Because we're doing something new. He doesn't want to throw it out. He wants to take it and fix the issues that have been coming up. Let me see. Okay. He plans to try to expand Medicare and Medicaid. He wants to make sure that there are choices that would be available even for small businesses that are having an issue purchasing insurance for their employees. So now in the state of Maryland here, if you have less than 5 employees, you don't have to purchase health insurance. But for businesses who are between 10 employees and 50 employees, you're supposed to provide health insurance. There are programs. If you go into the Maryland Health Connection, it actually talks about an upcoming plan for small businesses. This is coming from the Democrats, and this is going to be reinforced and encouraged by Joe Biden once he gets in office. Let me see. He's also going to give you the option to negotiate lower prices through the Medicare and Medicaid system, as well as giving you options to alleviate copays. And you know, sometimes copays can be a lot, depending on the procedure and depending on the situation. And it seems to me, depending on how serious your procedure is, that's how much more your copay is. It's like they almost don't want to save your life. If you got to get a really serious invasive procedure or therapy, your copay ends up being $200-300. Might as well pay for it outright. Well, that means it's probably about $3,000-4,000. However, he wants to create a scenario where he subsidizes the state's commitment to Medicaid and Medicare to provide lower copays and to help small business cover their employees. He also wants to increase the value of tax credits to assist those who are paying for their insurance through the Affordable Care Act, to get more of a tax credit for the premiums that they're paying toward their insurance. He's looking at doing this for people who fall between 100% and 400% above the poverty level. For in plain speaks, that is individuals who make less than $50,000 a year, and families of 4 who make less than $100,000 a year. He wants to make sure that the middle class has greater access to health insurance and lowering the limit of the cost of coverage from 9.86% of your annual income to 8.5% of your annual income, which means that no family will go or no individual will go without having coverage. This is important, especially in a time like this, because it's not just about catching the virus, it's about the issues and the side effects that occur after the virus. Oh, they vary, they're all over the place. This was not the flu. This was nowhere near the flu. Just because it uses the word virus behind it does not make it the same as the flu virus, which we are coming up on flu season. And you need to be leery, and you need to be careful, and you need to continue the social distance. This is very important because the flu can be just as contagious. Okay? The other thing that is coming out in the news today is that as early as February the 3rd, we know that Trump knew that COVID was airborne. That you could catch it not just by touching, but that it was airborne. Yet he still held 6 rallies in several key states in the Midwest, despite the fact that he knew that the virus had already entered the country.
He also stated that the virus, he didn't want to make it a big deal because he didn't want the people to panic. He
Right.
played it down.
And he deliberately downplayed it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But this is the president whom we voted for. And now we have a chance to do something different. We have a chance to go present ourselves at the voting booth. If you don't want to go to the voting booth, there are cards that came out in the mail asking you, do you want to do a mail-in ballot? You just fill it out and send it back. You don't even have to fill it out. You can actually go to the website. I don't know what the website is, but I'll make sure I'll have it for you soon. Okay? The other thing Biden is doing is in his effort to make sure that people get covered. For young people, kids, individuals, when you register for school, or when you register for social service activities, he is automatically going to qualify you for some sort of health insurance. Unless you already have it. He's going to make sure that you're included in the pool, especially, and this really affects our immigrant population who have not become residents yet, and making sure that everyone has medical insurance. The other thing that Joe Biden is doing, he is making sure you distinctly can see him with his character apart from our current president. He wants you to understand that he listens, he pays attention, and he responds in kindness, in love, and in wisdom. That he knows that we are in a tumultuous situation right now. And that the only way out is someone who has a clear plan, someone who recognizes the needs of all Americans, and someone who understands that right now we have a despot in office. We have someone who truly believes he has the right to be a dictator. And I'm saying all this to say, don't think, oh, it's going to be enough votes. People see everyone needs to go out and vote. There needs to be an overwhelming call to change. If not, then he is going to protest and do all he can to stay in office. He has no intentions of relinquishing power. So everyone, if you know someone who didn't vote last time, get them up, mail their ballot back so they could do a mail-in, or get them up with their mask and take them to the voting booth with you. Everyone must show up. If not, then there is going to be the same issue. And he is going to try, he's already laying the groundwork for calling this election a hoax. There must be an overwhelming call to change. There must be no room for doubt that we want a new direction for this country. That this government that we sit on right now in the midst of this pandemic must be overthrown. It is not only your right, but it is your duty. It is your absolute duty to stand up and say it loud. No more Trump. No more Trump. No more Trump. This is Ramona Jones McClain. I am your insurance guru. I'm coming to you live from Baltimore, Maryland. We talk about all things insurance except for today. If you want to call my office and get a quote, or you have any questions about your insurance, no matter what type of insurance it is, you can call me at 443-660-7131. And don't forget to prepare yourself to go out and vote. Oh, and please check out my YouTube channel. Like me on Facebook. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And also we're on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you so much for your consideration and listening to me today. And I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday.